Hi Not Board Gamers and welcome back to Not Board Gaming. I'm your host, I'm Mark. Now today's video is going to be the monthly roundup for June, and what a busy month it has been in June. I'll talk about where I've been, some of the games I've played, some of the stuff I've noticed that's happening in the industry, and then just talk about what's happening in the next month for me as well. So it's all solo based, obviously. Yes, it should all be solo based. But let's start with the beginning of the month and kind of what have I played this month. You see, the month started particularly well. I went to UKGE, that's the UK Games Expo. So I was there from Thursday to Saturday night. I had to leave on the Sunday to come home, and I met lots of people. I met other content creators like Mark Monk from UK Games, like Johnny Williams from Hexy Beast, met my friend Hilmar from Iceland as well. I saw publishers and I played games and I demoed games, etc. I had a great time. Started off on the Thursday night and it was the press preview. So I went to the press preview. Let me talk about some of the games I saw at the press preview. The first one is Fate Forge, coming to Kickstarter later this year from Mighty Boards. Now this is this kind of dungeon crawler game. It's app enabled as well. Really kind of interesting dynamics going on in this kind of dungeon crawler. A number of scenarios, and I think each scenario takes around about 30 to 40 minutes to complete, and then the app saves your progress if you like. You can then take what you've done into later stages of the game. Coming from, I'll say, Mighty Boards, I think Gordon Kalea is the designer of this, and I'm hoping to get a preview copy of this before it hits Kickstarter later. Didn't get to play it, but I spoke to Gordon for quite a bit and to Evelyn from Mighty Boards, and it sounds like a really interesting game. So I'm looking forward to finding out more about Fate Forge. One of the other things I saw and I got to play, didn't play it on the Thursday, but I played kind of 20 minutes of it, was Oathsworn. Now I know a lot of you have started to receive your Oathsworn pledge. I didn't back it on Kickstarter, and after playing the 20-minute kind of battle that I played, I'm really wishing that I had, but not to fear. Apparently it's coming back out to Kickstarter later this year. Gorgeous minis, looks like a wonderful type game. I really enjoyed the battle dynamics that were happening when I was playing in the kind of demo that I had during UKGE. So if you got Oathsworn right now, I'm insanely jealous, and I will be backing it in the next Kickstarter. Now, one of the standouts for me from the press preview was a game called The Old King's Crown. Now, this is coming to Kickstarter later this year, and the publishers asked me if I would like to preview it, so I'm really looking forward to this. Some absolutely gorgeous artwork on The Old King's Crown, and obviously it's got a solo mode, that's why I'm previewing it. Again, didn't get to play it, but I spoke to one of the designers, who's the guy that did the artwork as well, and it looks utterly interesting and fantastic. So I'm really eager to learn more about The Old King's Crown there. That's kind of from the preview night. I'm going to keep checking my phone because I've got my pictures on here of what I did. Then during the main part of UKGE. So first of all, I went to see my friends Paul and James from Stone Sword Games. I had a look at what they got there in terms of Senjutsu and how that's coming along, and that's looking utterly fantastic. And they had this wonderful table that had these, you could flip it over and play different maps on there. And we spoke a lot about Senjutsu, how that's developing. Really interested to see the final product on Senjutsu. It's one of the favourite games I've previewed in the last 12 months. And also had a look at Daimyo, which is a game they got coming out. Now at the moment there's no solo mode, but they are working on a solo mode for Daimyo as well. And the exciting thing as well is with Hogs of War, the miniatures game, is they had a kind of factory version of that there. I think that's being delivered to backers as we speak. That looks really interesting as well. So for any old PS1, PS2 gamers out there, Hogs of War, the miniatures game from Stone Sword Games, looks really good. They also had their Cosmoctopus. Now I didn't get to play that. I think that's a multiplayer game, and that's a game they've taken under license from people. I've already mentioned Oathsworn. I say I played the 20-minute battle version of Oathsworn and really enjoyed my time with that. I'm so kind of, I wish I'd have got to play more of Oathsworn and wish I'd have backed it. Then a game I previewed over a year ago, and it's going to get delivered to backers sooner, and they had a demo version there, and I played. Frostpunk. Now, if you saw my video on Frostpunk, I was blown away. Adam Kopinski game, coming to us from Glass Cannon Studios, big tower in the middle which drops kind of coal out of there and things like that, and it's a survival game. You've got to build up your little community of people, get them doing tasks, make laws, maybe send children out to work, feed them, stop rebellions happening, etc. We played like a couple of rounds of this. Really like the way it's developed so far, Frostpunk. I think this is more or less the final version now, so I think the ultimately is going to come out to backers, you know, a little bit later this year. What else was on there? Let's see. Oh, Carnegie. So I bought Carnegie, and I've only played it 2-player so far. There is a solo mode in that, and I had a good time with it. I did. Start off a little bit ropey. It was a learning game, and we were learning the rules as we played the game. So myself and Hilmar, my friend from Iceland, were reading through the rule books and playing the game at the same time. Got a couple of bits wrong. Started off, we were like, can't see the point of this. By the end of it, we're like, yes, that's a great experience. In fact, Hilmar then went off and bought his own version of Carnegie. So that was, you know, a good one to buy. And I also bought Night Cage as well. Now, I've been kind of interested in Night Cage, and it was at a good price at UKGE. I played it maybe 3 or 4 times since. I'm having a nice time with Night Cage. It's not a blowaway game, but in terms of what you do, kind of moving your characters around the board, and you've got the lights showing exactly what tiles are next to you, and the tiles change all the time, and the tiles that you pull out of the stack act as a timer on there. Really atmospheric. You know, you feel like you're in the dark searching through this game. I managed to get my hands on a really good priced copy of Vagrant Song from the Bring and Buy. Now, I've been after Vagrant Song for a long time, and I got hold of a copy of Vagrant Song from the Bring and Buy for a price I was happy paying. I've only played it once so far. My timetable is just shot to pieces this month, and yeah, I think I'm going to enjoy, when I take my hiatus after I come back from holiday, I'm going to enjoy some time with Vagrant Song and playing through Vagrant Song. I'm sure there were lots and lots of other games there. Oh yeah, I had a really good chat with Tristan Hall from Hall or Nothing. Tristan's going to be sending over some of his games to me later this year, so I'm going to be doing a bit of a kind of Hall or Nothing showcase. I've already got Vale Wraith, so I'm going to get some of like the Gloom of Kilforth and the Kilforth games, etc. I'm going to get those, and I'm going to do a bit of a showcase on Hall or Nothing games a little bit later this year. And there was also a game, and I can't remember the name of it. Where Humans Don't Belong. Now, this is coming to Kickstarter again later this year. I had a really good chat with the designer of this, and it looks really interesting. So, one to keep an eye out on. I'm going to speak to this guy about getting a preview copy of Where Humans Don't Belong as well. Kind of spaceship threat management, etc. And I picked up a copy of Isle of Trains there, my preview copy of Isle of Trains, and I'll talk about that in a wee while. Also, this month I've still got a load of previews to do before I go on holiday. In about 9 days' time, I think I've got about 6 videos to make between now and then. But I did preview, so we're onto what I played and previewed this month. I did preview the gig this month. So this is coming from Braincrack Games. I think the Kickstarter is either just about to finish, or it's finishing soon, or it has just finished. It's a roll and write based on a jazz musician ensemble, and you're rolling your dice and kind of trying to fill in your various scorecards, and your cards change depending on whether you choose to be a vocalist, a drummer, a saxophone player, etc. And there's a good solo mode designed by David Turksey as well. It's a nice addition to the roll and write genre. Did it blow me away? Not massively, but I enjoyed my time playing the gig. So if it's still on Kickstarter, you may want to check that out if you're in the mood for a roll and write. Then, rather quickly, I got contacted by Randall over at Eagle Griffin Games saying, hey, would you mind doing a preview for Bot Factory, the Vital Lacerda light game from Vital and João Quintela Martins, or João. He did tell me how to pronounce his name. That came through in a few days, and I previewed that earlier this month. So the video's out for the Kickstarter. It's on my channel already. Really enjoyed Bot Factory. Exactly what you want from a Lacerda light game. Now, I didn't enjoy Mercado de Lisboa, which took a really small part of Lisboa and made it into a game. I didn't really enjoy that. In fact, I put it into the board game library at work after I backed it on Kickstarter. It wasn't really my bag, but this gives you the Bot Factory gives you a great Lacerda feel without having to spend 3 hours playing a game. You're going to play a game in around about 45 minutes. Great graphics, nice amount of crunching there, some really good interconnecting mechanisms. If you're looking for a light Lacerda, then Bot Factory could well be the one for you. Then my time was taken up. I then had to go on a stag do. My best friend's younger brother got married on a stag do, so that took up quite a bit of my time and a little bit of recovery time afterwards as well. I also played, which I'm going to be doing a video on this weekend, Lunar Rush as well. So I've got this here. Now this is coming to Kickstarter a little bit later this year. It's got a solo mode. It's a wonderful kind of Euro game. You're taking resources from the Earth, you're taking them up to the moon, you're building new stuff, you're bringing them back to Earth, and then you're selling them on the market, which is kind of got elements of kind of the market goes down and goes up, etc., depending on what you're playing. I know in the full version there's also going to be market manipulation as well. Really interesting dynamics and really easy to get to grips with, and it plays relatively fast as well. And certainly I played it multiplayer. I played an online game with Will Brown, with the designer, his brother Stephen Brown, and with Don Gilstrap, and I think a full teaching game took just over an hour, and I can do a solo game of this in about 45 minutes. Really, really nice. So one to watch out for when I release the video, and certainly one to kind of keep an eye on the Kickstarter for. And I've just recorded my preview for the Comic Book Bubble, which is a game coming from 8 Games, and it's a game by Scott Almes. You'll know Scott Almes, obviously, from some of the Tiny Epic stuff, and of course his newest game's just been delivered to backers, So You've Been Eaten. This is a game based on, it's a market manipulation trading game based on on comic books, and you're buying and selling comic books based on the comic book boom, I think, of the kind of early 90s, etc. Again, easy to play. The solo works so well on this. You'll have to watch out for the video. It's going to be released in the next few days. I like this game a lot, and it's certainly one that I'm going to be backing when it comes out on Kickstarter. So it's one that you want to keep your hands on, is Comic Book Bubble. Now, before we talk about kind of some of the other games I've been playing, let's just talk a few wider things about what's happening with the channel. As I mentioned last month, I'm going to be taking kind of a hiatus. I go on holiday in about 9 days' time, as I say, for 2.5 weeks, and I'm going to use that as a reason just to pull back a little bit. I'm not going to be doing any previews through that time. Maybe 1 or 2 for some key clients. Key publishers. Maybe 1 or 2. But mainly, I'm just going to be doing some review videos and getting back until between probably when I come back from holiday until Essen in October, and just playing games and then reviewing games that I want to speak about. So there's going to be a little bit less content coming, and I'm okay with that. And I know the support I've received from everybody since I announced that last month has been absolutely overwhelming. I've had quite a stressful year this year. It's the first family holiday. There's been a lot of impact from work, a lot of impact from publishers sending stuff through. So it's just time for me to take just a wee bit of a break from doing constant creation. Now, there's also been, of course, what month doesn't go by without an element of drama, and there's also been some drama happening as well, again, between a content creator and a popular Facebook group. So, if you're aware of it, there was a bit of a falling out between Michael from King of Average and the guys over at Board Game Spotlight. Mike released a video about shipping costs, and potentially some of that information in there didn't bear out, if you like, under scrutiny from other people, or they had opposing opinions on it, and it was picked up quite heavily in the Board Game Spotlight. There's quite hefty falling out there, which resulted in a banning and then a re-entering of Michael. Now, there's been apologies all round on that. I'm not going to go into the details. I think, again, like the issue with last month, there's culpability on both sides here, and it's great to see that ultimately it was handled very, very well by both parties. Everybody's happy and talking to each other, and if anything, it got a bit of discussion going in the industry. But you know, again, that's just becoming a little bit tiresome. No blame on these guys individually, but every month there seems to be yet another drama happening in the board game world, in the board game industry. So it's nice to you know, think, yes, I can, when I'm taking a bit of a break, I can kind of remove myself from that just a little bit and not get kind of caught up. I didn't get caught up. I kept my opinions well and truly to myself on that, but not get caught up in that drama and try and kind of, you know, and let it concern me so much. Now, back in the last month, obviously, I also told you I'd got Burn Cycle, and I've played Burn Cycle about half a dozen times now. So Burn Cycle from Chip Theory Games. You can see the orange mat here. It's the play mat that I got for the table. Wow. Definitely a top 5 game for me this year. Where it will end up at the end of the year, I don't know. I think it's an utter masterstroke. But as I said in my video, I have a very good relationship with Chip Theory Games, which removes me away from being truly objective with them. So my video was entitled 5 Reasons Why You Might or Might Not Like Burn Cycle. And that was the best balanced approach I could take. I took 5 points, said why it worked from a positive perspective and why it might deter people from backing it. But from my perspective, it's my second favourite Chip Theory Games game so far. So it's usurped Cloudspire for me. So my Chip Theory, if you put Triplog to one side, my Chip Theory currently goes Too Many Bones, Burn Cycle, Cloudspire, then Hoplomachus. And if my top 4, if I only had those 4 games to play for the rest of my life, I'd be bloody happy to tell you the truth. Now, I mentioned Hoplomachus, and that's obviously the traditional Hoplomachus. There is obviously Hoplomachus Victorum going to be released to backers pretty soon. I previewed it from a TTS build last year. I'm eagerly awaiting and hope it comes through before I go on holiday, a preview copy of Hoplomachus Victorum. So I'm hoping that comes away before I go on holiday. Don't know if I'll be able to give you kind of an in-depth kind of review as such on it, but I'm hoping I'll at least be able to get an unboxing and some early impressions out for it. If it's anything like the TTS build, I know it's developed since then. I'm really, really looking forward to seeing how Hoplomachus Victorum has turned out. So I mentioned Lunar Rush, obviously. Then coming back to the table a few times has been Return to the Dark Tower. So this arrived last month. They got coming back to Kickstarter with a new expansion, but you can get the base game now. It's an expensive game, Return to the Dark Tower. It's not the deepest game in the world, but for whatever reason, it hits lots of buttons for me. I'm loving Return to the Dark Tower. I think it's a great game. I'm having a great time solo. I think for solo, to really get the benefit out of it, you need the Alliances expansion, but what they have done is tweaked the app, the difficulty on the app. So if you go into gritty mode, it kind of changes it and it makes it a harder challenge. So even on the base game alone, if you go into gritty mode now, it does some additional things in the event stage and adds more cards and adds more the threat onto the board, and it's got this nasty way of removing skulls from the buildings as well. And if you remove skulls and a building gets demolished, then you take a corruption card. If you have 2 corruption cards and you get another one, that's it, that's game over. And it has made the game more challenging. So I think I played it about another 3 times this month. I will have a review coming in my hiatus of Return to the Dark Tower. It's not going to be for everybody, and the price will be putting people off. But for me, it's you know, I'm looking forward to expanding it with the new expansion. Now, the next game I've got, which I'm going to be doing a preview for, I played it 3 times so far. It's a solo-only game. It's from Petter Shanker Olsen, the guy behind Donning the Purple. I wasn't that sold on Donning the Purple solo mode, and I said as much in my video, but Petter loved my video, loved my honesty in the video, and sent me a copy of Halls of Heger to preview. It's a kind of a war game, if you like, but it takes place over a number of days. It's about a particular siege that happened when the Norwegian forces were kind of digging in against the onslaught of the Germans, and it's played over a number of days and phases within these days. The kind of first third of the game is about you digging in, getting your resources, building up what you can. Then the infantry start arriving in the kind of second phases of it, and then finally you've got the artillery, you've got air attacks coming in, you've got the infantry there as well. I've not played any of the David Thompson games, and apparently after speaking to people like Michael Kelly, it's similar to some of those. It shares some similarities to Robinson Crusoe. I don't really like Robinson Crusoe. Some similarities to Robinson Crusoe, and certainly to Dawn of the Zeds. I'm going to say this now, and I say you'll hear more when I release my video. I think it's possibly one of the best solo-only games I've played in a long, long time. I have no interest in war games. I don't really play war games per se. They don't put me off, but it's not something that I actively seek. And maybe, you know, I need to then expand my repertoire out into some David Thompson games. But Halls of Heger, and I say this hand on heart, is one of the best solo experiences that I've had, pure solo experiences that I've had. I think it's an utter masterstroke. I'd like to see more variety in the cards and bigger card decks, and maybe you turn a card each day, basically, and those events get more progressively difficult as you go through. You're choosing from different decks, and I'd like to see more variety in those. But I think it's an absolutely fantastic game. It's a harrowing game. You're going out for kind of resources and food, and you're trying to build up your the number of people, but they're kind of getting killed at the same time. You're digging out certain things that help you throughout the game, and it's about kind of action selection, resource management, threat management. I think it's utterly, utterly fantastic. I say I've got a preview video coming out of that. And there will be a review video coming out, obviously, when the game hits its final version. But again, hand on heart, I think Halls of Heger is one of the best pure solo games I've played in a long, long, long time. I played some more Hour of Need by Blacklist Games. Not enough yet to do a review on Hour of Need, and I think I'm going to do kind of a 3-part review on Hour of Need. I'm going to compare that to Sentinels of the Multiverse, and also to Marvel Champions. Spoiler, I don't like Marvel Champions. But yeah, I'm going to do that at some point during the hiatus as well, and do a kind of comparative review between the three. Then I had backed a Kickstarter last year, and I made a point of not knowing anything about it. And I just backed it blindly. It wasn't that expensive, less than 30 quid, I think. And I kept away from kind of all the articles on it and people talking about it. You know, you can't keep away from everything, doing what I do. And that was So You've Been Eaten, again by Scott Arms and Kwanchai Maria, I think, let me just say. Scott Arms and Kwanchai Maria from Ludi Creation Studios. And you can play this solo as either kind of the miner in a beast gut, or as the beast played against the miner. You can play it with multiple people, or you can play no people and just have the AI decks do both sides. And I say I knew nothing about this game before it arrived, or very little about it. I backed it blindly. I thought this is going to be a blind back. I'm going to have a review coming out about it soon. I've played it a few times now. Meh. Honestly, I'm so underwhelmed by this game. It's an okay experience. The thought of playing it 0 players and having the AI decks play against each other, nice gimmick. In reality, to take even more agency out of the game just feels like a bit pointless, and not something I would enjoy doing. So my reaction with my blind backing of So You've Been Eaten: really bright, colourful artwork on there, simplistic gameplay, really kind of average experience in So You've Been Eaten. So I will do a kind of quick review on that as well at some point. Then I've done a preview video for Isle of Trains from Dranda Games. So Dranda, people behind Solar and Solar Sphere. So Solar Storm, many people have got. It's a 9-card kind of threat management game, pandemic-y if you like. And Solar Sphere is the kind of expanded version of that, the full Euro of that. And I reviewed Solar Storm and previewed Solar Sphere, and enjoyed my time with Solar Sphere. Well, Isle of Trains is a new game. Isle of Trains, all aboard, to give it its full title, is the new game from Dranda. Hits Kickstarter on the 11th of July. My video will be released to coincide with the Kickstarter. Loved it. I thought it was great. I thought it was really, really, really good. The solo plays so seamlessly. It's literally, you're loading kind of either people or goods onto your train, and you're building your engine up. So it's an engine builder about building an engine, and you're building your engine up and you're delivering goods and you're completing contracts. A game is going to take, as a solo player, around about 20-25 minutes. Absolutely loved it. And I think, as I mentioned in my video, there's some preview copies games I get, and I get to keep some of them, and then others I have to pass on. And Isle of Trains, I've sent it over to Johnny Williams over at Hexy Beast, and that was through gritted teeth a little bit because I wanted to keep my preview copy of Isle of Trains. So make sure you check out Isle of Trains, coming to Kickstarter on the 11th of July. Then I have received a preview copy of a game called Silver Coin Age of Monster Hunters, a big kind of epic game, Euro adventure type game. I demoed it at Essen last year. I've been in touch with the publishers a number of times, and then they've sent me over this preview copy. Realistically, I wanted to try and get it done before I go on holiday on Saturday the 16th, but I've just been hit with 3 days away from home for work next week, which really reduces the amount of time I've got to make videos next week. So more realistically, that video is probably going to be when I come back from holiday. I'm really looking to diving into that. I've been reading through the rule book at the moment. Nice and complex Euro adventure game. You're collecting stuff, you're battling monsters, you're upgrading your characters as you go through. I enjoyed what I played. I think I played it 4-player at Essen. I'm looking forward to see how the solo game goes on that. And then I'm trying to think what else. I think that is more or less it. I still have Gutenberg to learn and to review. I say Comic Book Bubble, the video will be coming in the next couple of days for that. That's recorded now, and hopefully if Hoplomachus Victorum arrives soon, then hopefully I can get it at least an unboxing and show you the components of Hoplomachus Victorum before I go on holiday on the 16th. So that's my kind of June roundup. It's been a busy month, as well as all that. Work has been insanely busy, as you can imagine. I'm going away for the best part of 3 weeks. There's lots to do at work. I've had a stag do. I've had a 2-day stag do, a 3-day wedding in between all this, as well as everything else happening in life, etc. And this is why I'm so ready for that holiday in about 9 days' time. So, thank you very much for watching me ramble through exactly what I've done from a solo perspective throughout the month of June. I'll be doing another one of these videos at the back end in July. Of course, there will be less there in July because, of course, I'm going to be on holiday for most of July and into August there. But whilst I am on holiday, I'm going to go out and I'm going to see what FLGs I can find in Los Angeles, where I'm spending some of the holiday. I'm also going to be spending some time, whether he likes it or not, with Will Brown of the Hungry Gamer fame, and I've been promised by Peter Vaughan that he's going to go to Will's house while I'm there, and they're going to let me play Andromeda's Edge. So this is the new game from Luke Laurie, of course, the mastermind behind Dwellings of Elder Vale. And if you saw my video from 2020, Dwellings of Elder Vale was my favourite solo game released in 2020. So I think that hits Kickstarter a little bit later this year, and I'm going to get to play it while I'm over at Will's house over in San Jose. So yeah, really looking forward to going on holiday, looking forward to what games I can play while I'm over in America, and people I can see over in America. Really looking forward to the break, the self-imposed break that I've got when I come back from holiday. I say there will be videos coming out, and there's certainly a slew of videos coming out, or at least getting recorded before I go on holiday in about 9 days' time. So thank you very much for watching me through the video. Yes, I'm going to be taking a break, but it's not going to be. I'm not going to be totally away from your screens. Sorry about that. For those that want me to be, and for those that don't want me to be, don't worry. You'll still see some content, just not as regularly from me, and there will at least be these monthly roundups. July's will fall into August because I don't get back until kind of the first week of August from holiday, and then I've got to go straight into work, etc. So I'll probably do that kind of second week of August about what games I played in July. So don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. Check out my other videos. Have a great July, and one final thought. If you can't find anyone else to game with, there's nothing wrong with playing with yourselves. Until next time, bye-bye.